Welcome to Down the Barrel Podcast with Jimmy and Dino. Get ready to dive into the wild world of Minnesota hunting, trapping, and wildlife. We'll be chatting with some folks who protect, manage, and promote the great outdoors. But don't worry, we'll also have some laughs as we chat about guns, whiskey, and anything else that catches our eye. So grab a drink, sit back, and get ready for a good time. Down the Barrel Podcast is brought to you by the Minnesota Deer Hunters Association
and Wolf.Report. Wolf.Report, a platform dedicated to elevating the voices of Minnesota hunters, trappers, and outdoor enthusiasts. Join us in advocating for responsible wolf management in Minnesota. Share your reports, photos, and stories, and together we will ensure that they are seen by all.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association, protecting the future of deer and deer hunting through habitat, education, advocacy, and legislation. All right, so today we're talking with Silver Stag Cutlery, Brad Smith. How you doing, Brad?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Brad.
So where are you located, Brad?
You can't get any farther northwest in the continental U.S. We're on the border, on the water, about 120 miles north of Seattle. Small town of Blaine, Washington.
Okay.
Population about 10,000.
Okay, so it's similar to our town.
Yeah, about the size of Rapids. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As far away from Antifa as I can get. I still live in the state.
I suppose you're up in that area.
Yeah, I had to look it up, and you guys are like right on the border.
Yep. I grew up fishing with orcas.
Wow.
Yeah, that would be cool. Do you venture out?
Yeah, if you guys ever want to do some good fishing, come on up.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Do you venture out to the ocean often, or?
Well, it's kind of the San Juan Islands. There's a chain of islands. You got Vancouver Island, then a chain of islands before you hit the Pacific. So we're kind of protected by this chain of islands. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I had an uncle that lived up in San Juan Islands. He moved here from Minnesota all the way out there a long time ago in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s.
Okay, yeah, I grew up on the San Juan Island for quite a few years, and my family's fourth generation Washington State. But as Seattle grew and got crazier, everyone's left.
Yeah, I bet. So what is your role with Silver Stag? You're the owner, operator?
Yeah, a little background information. Yeah. I grew up hunting and fishing, small town, the San Juan Island, and I think my dad gave me my first knife when I was 4 years old, and I was always fascinated with knives. I always had a few in my pocket, take them to school and trade them. You can't do that anymore, of course.
No.
But, I just love knives. And, after college, I worked at a corporate job, and it was in the city, and I hated it. And a few years later, I worked for a sunglass manufacturing company. I don't know if you remember Gargoyles.
Yes.
Arnold Warren, the Terminator, and Dale Earnhardt, small company. And it was financially mismanaged. And I'm about 28 years old. This was about 26 years ago. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And I just, as a hobby, my grandpa taught me how to make knives too when I was a kid, just grinding down files. And and in the late 90s, a lot of the bigger production companies were going to China. And I just started building knives out of saw blades and files and throwing stag handles on them. When I first started, they looked more like prison shanks than knives, but they were really functional. And then a few stores wanted to carry them. And so I really started making knives in my garage, 12, 14 hours a day, and then selling them at gun shows and arts and crafts shows, and stores started to carry them. And I decided to build some packaging and fixtures, and I didn't want my name on them, so I branded them Silver Stag, trademarked it. And finally, I started doing the SHOT Show, moved out of my garage, and then Cabela's asked me to build all their antler knives. And Gander Mountain was a big customer of mine before they went under. And we're just you got the big production guys, and then you got the small custom guys.
Right.
We're semi-custom. We got a real nice niche. Hired a couple of guys, and then my business really took off the first time I did the SHOT Show.
Okay.
And the SHOT Show, there was all the production knives companies there, and there was nothing really semi-custom. And our niche is really shed deer and elk antler knives. And antler's interesting to work with. It's first off, you can't just go out and buy it. It's kind of a subculture, And I love traditional stag knives, and so I really wanted to focus on, fixed blade stag knives, traditional old-time buoys. And so when I did the SHOT Show, people were pretty amazed because there was nothing really like this except, a lot of imports, a lot of plastic handles, synthetic handles. And so, stores started to, bring me in. And my price points were reasonable, and the sell-through was good. And so then Gander Mountain and a couple of the bigger companies picked me up. And in early 2002, Cabela's asked me to start building all their stag knives, and they were a great customer. I pulled out when Bass Pro bought them. The buyer wanted big discounts, and we've been so busy. When I started my business, it was 99% wholesale. And over the last 8 or 9 years, it's kind of transitioned into factory direct retail where customers go to our website now that we're pretty well known and order. So I still sell to a lot of independent sporting goods stores, and also Silver Stag's a little different. So a lot of Native American craft stores and trading posts and kind of Alaskan stores carry Silver Stag. But, it's just a nice niche. People love our product, and I'm blessed. I count my blessings every day. We're not huge. I'll never be a $20 million company, but we do substantial volumes.
Right.
I've got 15 employees.
Okay.
And to be efficient and to keep our price points, we have our blade profiling department where we design everything on CAD, and then we transfer the files over to our fiber laser machine. And I buy sheets of high carbon tool steel, D2 and 1095. And they're like, 70 inches by 40 inches. And we lay those sheets on our fiber laser, and then we'll cut the blanks, the profiles, like this. That's a profile of a blade out of sheet steel. So then after we profile them, we'll take them and run them on a surface grinder to remove all the rough mill scale. And then we'll hand hollow grind them under beta grinders. So all of our grinds are freehand. And then we'll heat treat the blades, and then we do the assembly. So I have different departments set up at the shop where I have my blade production department, my grinding department, my assembly department, my sanding and shaping department, my sharpening, my folding assembly department, and laser engraving and packing and shipping. So every day about 100 blades and product, and we finish about 100 knives a day.
That's what I was going to ask. How many can you do in a day? 100 of them. Wow.
So what process do you use for heat treating those then?
Well, we hang them in an oven and cook them up to 2,800 degrees. We put a whole D2 steel. It's a high carbon tool steel. A lot of machine shops use D2 to make dies and stamps that repeatedly cut other material because it's just very wear resistant and just incredible edge retention. And so we'll hang them in these ovens and cook them up to 2,800 and then air cool them and quench them.
Right.
And D2 is susceptible to warping, so we just we can clamp them if they start to warp. And sometimes I'll send out my blades to Pacific Metallurgy, and they'll heat treat them too for about 50 cents a blade when I'm really busy. So both in-house, and I sub that out, some of the heat treating.
How many knives can you heat treat at once?
Well, we usually build 400 to 500 blades a week. So usually on Fridays, we'll get our blades ready to heat treat so they're ready in a week. So we just kind of keep everything moving through the system. But, as we've gotten bigger for inventory, it's hard to keep count of everything. And, it's a can of worms.
I can imagine. Yeah, I've made a few blades I used to have a knife shop, not professional or anything, just for a hobby. And I can't imagine doing that many.
Yeah. It's a challenge, but again, we've just got this unique niche, and our customers, they want American made. They really don't want, and I've been blessed because I've received the NRA Knife of the Year many years, and the Elk Foundation Knife of the Year, and the Minnesota Deer Association, Whitetails Unlimited. I've worked with all the conservation groups. And the reason they can't pick me every year, but I usually do 2 or 3 a year because the perceived value of my product at the banquet program, it raises a lot more money than just a production knife.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
And we can do more limited editions than the big production companies can do too. So, we could do some file work and put mosaic pins in it or jewel the blades and put limited edition. And so it's been an honor to work with, the NRA all of these years. I think I've received the NRA Knife of the Year the last 7 out of 11 years.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And I also found if you donate, what comes around goes around. So I don't have a huge advertising or marketing budget. So what I do is I'll donate some knives to some conservation agencies, and they'll end up at a banquet where people see them. And then usually people come back and order from us, or the conservation agency does. So I love our industry. A lot of great people in our industry. And so I do more than most small companies by donating instead of spending a ton of money on print and all that stuff. And my business has really been, word of mouth. Friends show friends, and
I bet. Well, and I know you've done the Minnesota Deer Hunter Association 4 times, at least that I could look back: 2018, 2019, 2021, and then our current year, 2024. And I'm always amazed by the quality of the knife. And I know since we've been working together, and you give me all these options, and it's like, man, I don't know what to choose. I like this, I like that. Your price points are great. The engraving, so it's all in one. What I love is it's all in one store, one shop. You get the knife, you get the engraving, and you guys go above and beyond, not only to engrave just in one spot. I mean, I think I've got our current Knife of the Year here, and I know the sheath is engraved, which is, unheard of. And then we've got an engraving on the handle and then on the blade as well. So
yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy. And for the price, you guys have an excellent price and everything. And I love these knives. I think
I appreciate that.
Every year we've had, Silver Stag knife, I've bought it, and I've actually been looking at getting more for us to carry, in the store and or just for my personal collection too, because these are awesome.
Top of the line for sure.
Thank you. It seems like, like I said, half of our business is through our website, and there's a laser engraving option. So, customers will order a knife for their dad or their grandpa or their brother, and they always want a few words on it or initials or a name. We do some corporate logo business. And believe it or not, we work with a lot of the military branches. The Night Stalkers, the Black Hawk helicopter pilots, we put their logo on them, and they sell them in their hangar down at McCord Fort Lewis.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
And it's kind of crazy. This is a kind of a cool story, but, again, I believe in giving back. And, I can't do everything. Of course, we get hit up every day for no-charge knives, but I do more than most, especially for our military. But about 8 years ago, we got a call from an admiral's assistant, and the 21 SEALs who went on the bin Laden raid wanted a Silver Stag. And so I wanted to do something really special for them. And I read that the Port of New York was giving away some World Trade Center steel. And so I called the Port of New York, and they thought I was a lunatic. I said, hey, they were giving it away to municipalities for memorials, and here I am, hey, I'm a knife maker. There's some special warrior, anyway, so I called a Manhattan cop friend of mine, and he called the union guys who cleaned up the World Trade Center and told them what I was going to do, and those union guys, they sent me a block of steel. And it wasn't cutlery steel, so what we did is we cut medallions and we inserted them, embedded them into the handle, and then we laser engraved it. This is steel from the World Trade Center.
Wow.
Thank you for all you've done to avenge us, and
that's awesome.
I promised the union guys that I wouldn't sell it. It was just going to be a donation to the SEALs. And I didn't have security clearance to laser engrave the SEALs' names on them, but at the SHOT Show, a lot of them came up, and they didn't really say who they were, but they thanked me. And unfortunately, some of those guys went down a year and a half, 2 years later, in a horrible accident over there in Afghanistan. But, just cool stuff like that we could do at a turn of a dime. And like over at our base in Afghanistan, they were doing a Super Bowl, and I donated a couple of knives to their party. Then they sent me to flag off their base, cool stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, I love our industry. It's a small industry, and when you give, it always comes back to you.
Right, for sure.
But another thing we do that nobody else, I think, in the world does is we'll build knives out of customers' cherished antler, which is a really cool program. So if a father and a son go out and get their first buck, and they process the meat, they can throw the antler in their garage, or they can send it to us, and we'll build them a pair of knives that they'll have for a lifetime. And then we'll laser engrave the date of the kill, their family name, and it's the same price as on our website. We actually add about a $10 kind of a tracking fee because we have to be careful as we walk it through the system. So That's part of our retail business. It's worked out really well.
Wow. Yeah, that's a really cool option there.
That is. That's something that we might, kind of even advertise a little on our end, for sure, just to maybe we can drum up a little bit of extra business for you, because I didn't know you could do that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys got a chunk of antler in your garage,
oh, for sure,
cut it about 7 inches above the base and send it to us, and I'll make both you guys a knife for free.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
Definitely. I got a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I usually get mine mounted, so
that's not his deer.
That's not my mount, but I do have a couple at home that I mounted. So
when you're making all the money you guys do, of course.
Yeah.
All the money we get, we'd have to buy Chinese knives.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
So obviously everything's American made in-house there. American steel.
Yeah, we start from scratch.
Yep.
Even I was a fixed blade guy, for many years, and I wanted to do folders, but I'm not an engineer, and you really have to be an engineer to do folders. So I hired this kid from a Christian farm town close to us, and he was a third-year engineer studying engine combustion, and he worked for me part-time. And he was an expert at CAD and prototyping. And so we started playing around with just, we didn't look at anybody else or anybody's stuff. And we started building these folders, testing them, fine-tuning them. And folders are a can of worm because everything has to fit perfect, or you got a loose blade, or it's not going to lock properly. And so it took us a couple of years, but man, we got a beautiful line of folders.
Yeah.
And, we were buying the pivot pins from a supplier. They're probably made in China, and they were cheap. And so we even designed our own pivot pin. and we designed it on CAD and then sent it to American Fasteners out in your neck of the woods.
Yep.
This is the pivot pin right here that we designed, and you could adjust the tension with an Allen wrench. So if you want it loose like that, or if you want it a little tighter, you just tighten it up. So everything we do, they're our own designs, and they're traditional. We offer lifetime warranty on our fixed blades, and the steel is incredible. I love D2. Mm-hmm. We also use 1095, which is spring tool steel like you'd see in a circular saw blade or a file. And that's excellent stuff too, but it's very susceptible to rust. Mm-hmm. The old timers, they all made knives out of car springs and files, and that's what spring tool steel is. But just got to keep them oiled.
Mm-hmm.
But
that was my favorite.
What's that? Was that yours?
Oh, yeah, 1095. That's one I made you.
I was going to say, I've got one.
Have you kept it oiling or is it rusted?
No, it's actually, I think it was oiled. I think it oiled it once, and it's in my gun safe. So I know I opened it up. I actually looked at it just a few weeks ago, and it's still in good shape. Wow. And it still had an edge to it. Of course, I haven't used it.
I figured those were rusted the heck by now.
No, it's still in good shape.
Yeah, I love
Jim, how many knives have you made?
Oh, gosh. Well, I'm going to tell you what. I've only completely finished, I think, 2 knives. And that, when I say completely finished, I mean with the sheath and everything. I mean, I've probably made a couple dozen knives. I mean, at least. But I only did it for a few years, and then I don't know why I just got out of it, ran out of time.
Yeah, because they're really cool. The one that you gave me.
Yeah, I mean, I had the full setup. I mean, I heat treated them. I did everything in my little teeny garage. I mean, I could do one knife a month.
I mean, it won't cut paper, but it looks cool.
Yeah, I definitely needed to do better with the sharpening. I ain't gonna lie.
But that's one of the hardest things to train is how to freehand sharpen.
Right. I practiced a lot, and boy, that is tough to get right.
Yeah,
for sure.
So, but I mean, again, I've just been blessed. I got a good crew. We all love what we do. We like working with our hands, and fortunately, I haven't had any serious accidents. I've got a doctor in town who will stitch us up for cash, so my L&I rate will go up.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So once a year, I'll usually run a guy up to get stitched up. But, I pay him for the day off.
Yeah. So you guys, so you've got the folders, which I'm looking at the catalog that I have. I think I'm going to venture into one of these. But then you also offer Damascus.
Yes.
So you guys forge the Damascus, right? Or
yes. Well, a good friend of mine in Idaho, he does my billets for me. I used to do them, and so he just does the billets for me, and then we'll profile our blades out of the billets, and then we'll finish them in my shop. But he's been building. He used to teach Damascus in a tech school, and we've been friends for about 25 years. He's getting older. He had an axe come off a grinder and hit him in the face. And so he's not working as much as he used to. But it's authentic. We do a random pattern, a twist pattern, and we use 1095 and 15N20 between 180 and 240 layers. Now, is Damascus better than straight D2? No, not really. I mean,
it just looks pretty.
It's prettier.
Yeah.
Everyone's like a fingerprint. And people who understand how Damascus steel is made appreciates it. Mm-hmm. It's great. It cuts great, but it's not like super, anything like super steel, but it is. It's very, it's just a fingerprint. Everyone's a little different. Yeah. Just like our knives, if you took 2 of them and held them next to each other, the grind's just going to be a little different. And that's how you can tell a semi-custom knife versus a production knife. The grinds, everything's going to be exactly the same.
It was hands-on with you guys.
Yeah, and I think that's what I like about the uniqueness of your knives as well, especially when you start getting into the handles. How everyone is a little bit more unique and different. Now, this year's knife is more, there's not as much, individuality in it with the grind. But as for the handles of some of the other knives we've had, they've been, really unique, and that's what I think is cool about it.
Yeah, the ones with the crown probably are more unique.
The one with the crown are definitely more unique with the bend or the thickness and everything else. So,
for sure.
Yeah, we even we build a boar sword too, and these rednecks down in Texas, they're hunting wild pigs with dogs and
Yeah,
swords.
I saw that. That thing is impressive.
I want one. I mean, I've been looking at you and I were talking about those Bowie knives.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I've got a production Bowie knife. Whatever from it's probably worth like $30. Probably made in Pakistan or whatever back in the day. But I don't know. I've been looking at these Bowie knives. Like, yep, I'm thinking I need
a good truck knife like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, these are sweet
for sure.
Another thing I was going to add is I watch a lot of Forged in Fire. I think it's cool, and especially with the Damascus and how they make that. And that is very unique. Yeah. I wish I had that skill. But the grinding down, I mean, like what you do.
I prefer that method myself.
Yeah.
Because I can be more creative with the shaping.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Well, you guys should come on up and I'll build a few knives with you.
Well, that'd be a hoot.
I need more vacation. We might have to take a road trip. So what is your top selling knife? It's probably hard, but what is your top selling?
Probably our fillet knives. And another kind of interesting story, doing the SHOT Show for 18, 19 years, you meet a lot of people. And about 14 years ago, this guy came up to me and he had a small show called Respect Outdoors on the Outdoor Channel. And he asked me to sponsor the show. And I said, I'm a small fish. But I gave him a knife. And next year at the SHOT Show, he came up to me and said, I love your knives, Brad. Can I get another one? I'm starting a YouTube show. And I gave him a knife. And he's a gator guide out of Florida. And he skinned an entire gator with this little 3-inch blade that I gave him. And that video went viral. Okay, so he just started the show. Now he has 3.4 million followers. And he's probably one of the biggest kind of kill, clean, and cook shows on YouTube. Of course, YouTube kind of demonetizes a lot of the kill shots now. So,
right.
But anyway, long story short, after he skinned that gator, I saw a lot of people coming to my website and calling, where can I get one of those knives? So I said, Robert, why don't you come on up and we'll design 5 styles for you and we'll co-brand them. Use them on your show and we'll drop ship them from my factory. I'll set you up as a wholesale dealer, and I'll give you the difference between wholesale and retail. Well, it started out slow, but as he grew, and he's a big fisherman, and that's why our fillets are so strong, and they're just incredible. As he grew, we were doing 400 or 500 deer meat for dinner Silver Stag knives a month, along with Cabela's and Gander Mountain and our independent. So, it just kind of went crazy, but the fillets are amazing, and they've got just the amount. They're not totally flexible, but they've got flex in them, and they hold an edge forever. So I would say our top selling would be our Alaskan fillet knife.
Oh, wow.
And probably our Cub or our Lion folder. We sell a lot of buoys, and we sell a lot of full tang slab, like the Minnesota deer knife that you have. We sell a lot of the full tangs.
Right.
Because we have different designs. We have full tang, and then we have hidden tang construction.
Yep.
Which are your fillet knives? Are those hidden tang or are those full tang? I guess I didn't see them.
We do what we do. We just launched a full tang, but they're hidden tang.
Are they?
And that would be on page 4 or 5 of the Signature Outdoors series. I don't know what catalog you have.
Yeah, it's probably an old catalog, to be honest.
You'll see Alaskan fillet in there, but that's a big seller.
Yeah, I made a couple fillet knives, and that is tough to make them. That's one of the.
They're hard to grind.
Right, because you got to make them so thin to try to get them flexible, but not, so they don't warp to heck when you heat treat them and then snap in half. Because I've had a few do that. Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, okay, yeah, so that is hidden. Yeah, that is nice.
So do you sell more of the I don't know, what do you call it? Do you call it the base of the antler or
The crown.
Yeah, the crown, or more the stick?
We use it all. I buy thousands of pounds of shed deer and elk antler, and it's kind of a subculture. There's 4 or 5 old timers that control the antler market in the U.S. It's kind of a subculture, and they have their, hunter-gatherers who will go to deer farms and put up signs in small towns, and I buy thousands of pounds from these guys. And I do get a little bit of horn out of British Columbia, too. I have an import-export license, and I have a supplier up there. And then our scrap antler, I got this guy who buys all my scrap, and they send it over to Asia, and they grind it up, and the Asians think it's an aphrodisiac. And trust me, we snort enough of this stuff, it doesn't work.
Right. Yeah.
So we use moose, we use deer, elk.
Oh, wow.
And I've got a good store in Alaska. I mean, this guy, he's right where the cruise ships land. It's called Alaska Knife Works in Juneau. And he'll sell 10 to 20 silver stags a day. But I make his knives out of caribou. He'll send me a bunch of caribou or Alaskan spalted birch. And then we build his knives out of caribou or spalted birch, engrave them, shed caribou from Alaska. And he does huge volume. And then he takes the winter off and goes to Mexico.
Nice.
I'm thinking, what am I doing wrong?
Exactly.
Boy, I bet shipping all those antlers to you I bet that's a real treat. I bet the FedEx guy and UPS guys just love you. Of course, you're probably big boxes, or do they end up getting cut up a little bit before they get to you?
Some do, some don't. Okay. And now that I've been around for so long, some guy out of the blue will call me and say, hey, my grandpa's got a full barn load of antler. Do you want it? I said, yeah, I'll buy it. So, or I'll trade him.
Yeah, right.
Antler, when I first started, I was paying about $4 to $6 a pound. But then the dog chew market hit about 6-7 years ago, and guys are cutting up antler and putting it in pet stores. That drove the price up a bit. Not my price, not too much, but now I'm paying $8 to $12 a pound, depending. Elk's a little more expensive at 12, but shed whitetail, I pay 8. So,
right.
But yeah, I spend hundreds of thousands a year on antler.
Oh, I bet.
I can imagine.
I was wondering how that affected. I always, I see them at the trade shows, antlers for dog chews and stuff. I was like, man, that would make a good knife handle. And they're giving it to their dog to chew on.
Yeah. They're too damn.
Yeah, but what's happened too is some dogs are cracking their teeth on the antler.
Too damn hard.
And so the dog shoe market slowed down substantially because the stores don't want the liability.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I have a Great Pyrenees, and I tried to give him a chunk antler once, and it was like, he couldn't even dig into that thing. So that was the last time I did that.
Well, my hunting dog, and my shepherd, they'll eat a bunch, then they'll puke. So I don't know.
Right.
Yeah,
it's calcium.
Yeah, I can't decide which handle I like better, the crown or, I guess it depends on what knife it goes to, because the crown for the Bowie knives are so sweet looking. But then I'm looking at a fillet knife with a crown, and then one with a stick, and it's like, man, I don't know, man, that's hard to choose. Those are really cool.
Yeah.
We try to make them really balanced too, so they're really comfortable to hold. And so if there's a little burr sticking up on the crown, we'll sand that down smooth, so when you're gripping it, it's not going to dig into your hand at all.
Yeah. So. And you guys do, it looks like, chef knives and cleavers and pretty much everything.
Well, what happened was, like 10 years ago, our steel is so good. All of our great redneck hunter customers were using their hunting knives in the kitchen because they love the steel. Yeah. And so a few of them said, hey, why don't you do a nice barbecue set? So I came out with a carver and a fork, and it really took off. And we just every year we'll add a couple of chef knives. And if I were to market that end, it's not the same industry. It's a different housewares industry with different sales reps and trade shows. But if I got serious and put up another chef website and kind of went after that market, it could dwarf what I'm doing now. But, I just turned 60 and I don't want to work harder right now. I'm just try to keep up with demand. It's what we do. So
Right.
King Ranch is probably our biggest customer. We build all their private label and co-branded knives, and they do thousands. So they're a real key customer, and they let me hunt on their ranch once in a while too, which is kind of nice.
Well, that's a bonus.
Yeah.
That is.
And then I see you've got a silver frame series.
Yeah, that's just kind of, a price point. We do a Native American fish design, some elk tracks, and God we trust. And it's just a nice boot or visor knife and throwing knife and 100 retail, and it's D2 steel. So, we've tried a little bit of everything, but what we have right now, the more styles we have, the more chances we have to back order. It's a can of worms. So every year we'll design 4, 5, 6 new styles, and then we'll discontinue 4, 5, 6 of the slowest. So it kind of keeps the line fresh.
Yeah, that's good.
And we don't have a million styles.
Right, because that would be tough to keep up with for sure.
So what kind of grinders are you running over there, if you don't mind me asking?
We use beta grinders.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give you a tour of the shop too, and you can see how I'll send you a grinding video.
Yeah, that'd be
That
cool.
would be cool. And you guys, for all the sheaths, you make all that, all that there? No?
Don't do the leather. I've done it, but it's a can of worms, and since we're doing,
Bet.
a couple thousand knives a month, there's no way. So I use a small Christian family. They've been doing my leather sheaths for over 20 years. And I use another small cowboy family company out of Virginia.
Cool.
And that sheath that you have is a pouch. And I like that because 4 or 5 of our styles will fit in that one sheath. And I don't have to have one sheath for every style. And that sheath's nice too because you can wear it vertically or horizontally on your belt. And a lot of guys in the South like to wear it horizontally, so when they're getting in and out of their truck or on their tractor or horse or whatever, it's not gouging their side.
Yep.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I love the leather. It's soft. It's
I really like that fastener style you have on there. Just like that.
Yeah, that's just to tie it in case you. But a lot of guys don't wear them; they just throw them in their hunting pack. You know, some guys carry them, but a lot of guys will just throw them in their pack. We have this one bigger knife. We have a shoulder strap where it goes over your right shoulder and hangs under your left arm, and you really don't even know it's there, but you can quickly reach out and grab it. And so if I'm up in Alaska and I'm hiking and I don't have my handgun, I'm carrying that.
No doubt. No doubt. But as a shoulder holster, I guess I didn't see that one.
Yeah, that would be sweet. Headed to the wall with my shoulder holster knife. Yeah, no, that's pretty cool.
Well, I know you guys got some incredible hunting out there. I'd love to get out there sometime.
No, we got better fishing here.
Yeah,
I know. I'm on the walleye, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah, I've heard some stories where guys will go out and camp out in the ice and get hammered and fish all night.
That happens every night in the winter around here.
Yeah, pretty much. When do we have good ice? Last year we didn't have good ice, so
The weather's getting a little crazy, but yeah.
If we get some good ice, we'll definitely come out. Although I don't know if you want to experience a Minnesota winter, but come out. We'll show you a good time on the ice if we got some good stuff.
For sure.
Yeah, I'd love to try it. Our climate's, in the winter here, it's just cloudy, wet in the 30s and 40s. And so, but I do a lot of river fishing. The salmon are always coming up in the fall.
Okay.
And I do some trolling out there in the Puget Sound, halibut and some halibut bottom fishing and ling cod. And then on the coast here, we have the small blacktail. We don't have a lot of whitetails.
Yeah,
I think I've seen some shows of people out there hunting those things.
I think I have too.
Little guys.
Yeah, they're like big dogs.
Right.
They're not very big.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the whitetail, black bear, obviously the upland birds, but fishing's big around here.
Yeah.
This time of year, especially, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, ice fishing's
Here
huge.
too.
Huge.
We do a lot of duck hunting.
Okay, yeah.
Quite a bit of duck and goose around
Here, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys ever been out here to Western Washington or the Pacific Northwest?
I've been out there, not really spent much time, but yeah, I haven't got to do anything fun out there, just kind of driving through.
Yeah, the furthest west I've been is Boise, Idaho. That's
Wow.
where west as I went.
That's where my daughter goes to college.
Oh yeah, there you go. Go Big Blue. I love Boise State. I love the stadium. It's that's got to be the coolest stadium I've ever been to. It is awesome.
Yeah, I like the state. It's very well managed. The state of Washington is kind of gone to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah.
For sure.
When I was growing up, it was conservative, and a lot of people from the East Coast or California have moved up and to get themselves into government. And that's all I need to tell you.
Well, that's why you got into those big cities, right?
Well, Seattle, I'm third generation. Seattle was very conservative in the 60s and 70s. It's just been the last 20 years when it's kind of gone crazy.
Yeah, from what we hear, I mean, obviously we're quite a ways away, but we hear about it.
Yeah. Well, it's unfortunate, but the way it is. I was making a joke to my office manager. I said, "Have you seen my passport?" She goes, "Why?" I said, "Well, I've got to go to Seattle to that new country down there called Chaz." Do you remember when they took over the police station and they formed their own little country inside the city? Oh, that's craziness.
Yeah. So you said you hunt a little, do more fishing.
Do more fishing, and of course, being in the industry, I get invited all over the world, and I got to start taking advantage of that. I'm so busy in the fall that I haven't, but I went down, did some gator hunting a couple years ago on Lake Okeechobee. I just got back from Guatemala, did some sailfish down there, which was a lot of fun. I'm going bear hunting in Alaska next spring.
Nice. Wow.
And I got invited over to New Zealand to hunt some red deer. So I'm going to try to do that.
Yeah, I don't want to pass that up.
But I just turned 60 and I'm starting to slow down. I'm turning more of the business over to my employees. And, I've got two daughters and I don't have a son. And I just don't know when I retire what I'm going to do with this thing.
Just make it pay for your hunting trips.
There you go.
Well, it does. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That sounds like a pretty good plan.
So is there a specific time of year where you're busy, or is it just kind of busy all year round?
It's all year.
Okay.
Because all of the state, like we sell to Mount Rushmore and all our Alaska stores and state parks and trading posts and tourist destinations. So all those orders come in February, March, and April. And a lot of the banquets and conservation organizations, they order most of the year.
Yeah.
And then, of course, fall season and Christmas is,
I know
Katie bar the door.
Yeah, we would do our orders, obviously, start the conversation in, April, May, and then the order come through and get the knives come that July, August, or July for sure. So I'm sure you had, summer was busy too, making them.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'd love for you guys to come up sometime, and
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see how you can do that with 15 employees. That seems like a big task.
Amazing,
right?
That you can do all that
with 15 people. They must be some good folks.
If everybody focuses on one production area, we all have our hands on the finished knives, but it's just in different stages of production. So if you just keep moving the product around, if we build 50 to 100 same style units a day, we're very efficient.
Yeah, I was just saying, so that's your guys' process is you'll take one day and make a certain style knife and just do a bunch of them?
That's how we're most efficient, but it doesn't always end out that way.
Right.
Well, I suppose you always got some oddballs here and there that you got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try to plan in advance. If we do end up getting the Minnesota Deer Association Knife of the Year and it's 75 units or 80 units, we like a month to plan it out.
Okay.
Get them built. And our production usually sells out in November for the year between factory direct customers and dealers.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna definitely look for 2025. We're already committed to another company, but obviously, I look at you at least every other year or something as much as possible, because your knives are one of our top selling fundraising knives that we offer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I really appreciate the business. It's been really nice, Dean. So is this a part-time gig, the down the barrel, or or is the Minnesota Deer Association your part-time deal?
No, Minnesota Deer Hunter is full-time. Yep. Down the barrel is our part-time, just kind of having some fun with and
talking
doing
about
that.
some hot topics in the area.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Well, I'd love to get out there. I like to donate. I think I donated a couple to you guys, and then I think you started ordering. And you guys don't do the SHOT Show, do you?
We don't. For whatever reason, ever since I was employed, they don't do SHOT Show, but I'm trying to get us back there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping we can get back there at some point. Because obviously a lot of our, manufacturers and a lot of my dealers and everything are out there, and so I'd love to go out and, meet more of them.
Right.
And get better relationships with everybody.
How many members do you guys have now?
We're running, so we've got 60 chapters, and we're running roughly pretty close to nearly 20,000 members.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good chunk.
Yeah.
Well, you guys do great work.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it. We're always trying to get better and, try to stay above the curve. The volunteerism is getting tough and, getting tougher. But we're always trying to stay above the curve and, come out with good fundraising and everything like that. So, and products like this.
Do you guys have one huge big annual banquet?
We do. Yeah. We do our state habitat banquet in February, and then all the chapters usually have a banquet rather, either in the fall or the spring. So they separate.
Yeah. So there's lots of banquets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
For sure.
Well, Dean, get a hold of me before your big February convention. I'll donate a big knife, a Bowie or something for it.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I will definitely do that. And I know Jim and I were even looking, the folders, the buoys, I'm going to look at possibly make an order personally. So,
for sure.
Because like I said, I've bought every one of the knives that we've had for Knife of the Year, and I'm going to buy some more.
Yeah.
So
great product for sure.
Yeah.
Well, again, I'll be happy to donate something special for your banquet, So,
yeah. No, we appreciate that.
And maybe I'll see you at the SHOT Show in January.
If I can swing it, I would love to. If I can swing it, I'll definitely let you know.
For sure.
Where is this taking place? Is this your headquarters you're at right now?
No, we have a little studio in Grand Rapids that we do this at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is all our stuff. So.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, again, it's I appreciate the additional exposure and the business. So, look forward to sending you another sample or two next year, and then a couple of donations. How's that sound?
Yeah. No, that'd be great. No, we appreciate it and appreciate your time and coming on board with us and everything that you guys do. So
and thanks for the tour, and sorry about a little bit of slow internet there, and
I think it's on our end. I don't know. This happened once before too. So,
it happens, and we just appreciate your time.
Did you get a good chance to see the grinding? How we grind them?
We did.
That was cool.
Yeah, I bet that guy is. He knows what he's doing. He's probably done a few.
Yeah, Paco. Okay. All right. Dean, Jim, pleasure. You guys take care.
You too.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot, Brad.
If you need anything, just send me an email or whatever, and we'll get you set up on a nice buoy. All right.
We appreciate it. Thanks
All
a
right,
lot,
sir.
Brad.
You have a good one.
You too.
Talk to you later.
Nice to meet
Thanks,
you guys.
Brad.
All right.
Bye.
We'll see you.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association has been building our hunting and conservation legacy over the past 40 plus years through habitat, education, advocacy, and legislation in Minnesota for Minnesota.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association and Wolf Dot Report proudly sponsor this podcast. However, please note that the opinions, topics, and guests featured may not necessarily align with the views, beliefs, goals, or mission of our sponsors.